Welcome back, guys. Max here, and today we're going to be talking about turning tides, but briefly, real quick, before I talk about that, the server number for this week's server, and the server is live right here, right now, is 13579. I tried to keep it as simple as possible. Go and search that. You'll get into the server. It is live right now, and on Saturday, when we do the live stream, we'll mess around with it. And Saturday, August 19th, guys. So if you're watching this in the future, apologies, but you missed it. Anyway, the other thing that everybody's been asking me is about the platoon. I do have a platoon. Max Ranks Legion is what it's called. You don't need to ask for permission to join. It's open for absolutely everybody. That's the whole purpose of the exercise. Get everybody in playing together. Don't care who you are. Jump in. Well, I say that. If you turn out to be a total muppet, I'm going to kick you out of the server. But open for everybody. Jump in there. Sign up. Don't ask me for permission. You don't need to. I will respond if you do. I try to respond to everybody down in the comments. I've made a habit of doing that. I like to respond to absolutely everything. If you've taken the time and the trouble to send me a message, the least I can do is respond to it and give you some feedback from what I think, and I'm no expert. But anyway, so moving swiftly on, turning tides. That's the subject. This is the first time we're going to see in Battlefield 1 where we're going to get two DLC drops almost back to back. The Russian DLC obviously drops at the end of September, and right after that, in December, we're going to get Turning Tides. Now, my train of thought around this was because we've got so much content coming down in the name of the Tsar. We've got, what, 11 new weapons, 6 new maps. We got the specializations, we've got a bunch of new melee weapons and all that kind of stuff. There's a huge amount of content that they've dumped right into this DLC, and it's certainly, long overdue. But we've got all of this stuff, and it should keep us all, fruity for quite some period of time. So how are they going to do Turning Tides? Are they going to implement any more guns? Are we going to see any more guns? I know we're going to see some additions to the specializations and all that kind of stuff, but are we actually going to see any more weapons, melee, or regular primaries or secondary pistols or whatever? And it got me thinking, so I started looking into Turning Tides. It's a marine-based DLC, all about ships and naval warfare and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, okay, how are they going to do this? So started looking into it, and the history of this, it gives you some of the clues as to what potentially DICE may or may not do. And let me stress this, guys, none of this is factual. The history is factual, but are DICE going to put it in? Yeah, I don't know. This is not confirmed. This is me speculating completely. So I was going to state that right off the get-go. So it focuses around two battles, Gallipoli Offensive and the Zeebrugge Raid. Now, the Zeebrugge Raid was an offensive turned by, oh my good God, attempted, I should say, by the Royal Navy. You can tell this stuff's not scripted. The Royal Navy went down to the port of Bruges-Zeebrugge in Belgium. And the idea being is that the Germans were operating German U-boats out of that port, and they were being a real pain in the arse in the British Channel, or the English Channel, I should say. And so what they decided to do was to take some ships down there, scuttle them in the harbour, and prevent the U-boats from coming out. Now, the plan was a complete disaster and didn't go down well at all. But what it does do is it sparks the interest of, are we going to see U-boats within the game? I think we will. I think this can be done. How it will be implemented in the game, I have absolutely no idea. They may be just like a surface ship on top of the water. You may be able to dive them. That would be absolutely awesome. How they're going to do that, I don't know. This is not a combat sim, so I don't know how they do that and keep it within the confines of Battlefield. But I thought about it, and I thought, well, that would be kind of cool. We are getting a new destroyer. That is definitely coming. And we are getting the Coastal Class airship, which is more than likely going to be the Behemoth. So why not put a U-boat in there? And then I do some further reading into the history, and it turns out that the British had an aircraft carrier down there at the same time. And that got me thinking, well, typically off aircraft carriers, they operate aircraft. And I didn't know this, but at the time in World War I, planes were being operated off of aircraft carriers. Now, I didn't know that. And like I said before, this is not the History Channel. So if you want to find this information out, go and Google it the same as me. I'm not going to sit here and bang the drum and labour it about, this was made by this guy and did it this and blah, blah, blah. And it weighs this much and it was driven by a Daimler engine. Who cares? But if you want to find the information out, go and do it yourself. But one of the planes that was operated off the aircraft carrier was the Short Type 827. Now, this is a float plane. On the screen, you'll see the picture. So it was an 827. There was another model called the 830. These were operated by the Belgian Air Force and by the British at the time, and I thought this could easily be implemented within the game by DICE without a shadow of a doubt. Well, whether they operate them off of carriers or whether they operate it, it's just bobbing around in the sea and you fly it off the sea or whatever, it's a float plane. So I thought that would be kind of cool. It was set up as a reconnaissance aircraft, so it's a two-man reconnaissance plane with a, machine guns on it and all that fun stuff. So I thought, well, you could easily do that. And whilst I was conducting this research, I also come across the Sopwith pup. Now, the Sopwith pup is kind of like a fighter, if you like, but operated off of aircraft carriers, and that could certainly be implemented within the game, single-seater fighter. And I thought, well, that'd be kind of cool as well. And as we move further down that line at the same time, we also come across the Sopwith triplane. Now, the Sopwith triplane was also around at the same time, although it went out of service, because it turns out that in steep dives the wings would shear off. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when flying a fighter plane, the last thing I want is the wings buzzing off past my ears. Do you know what I mean? Not really what you're looking for in a fighter plane. But there is 3 different planes. The Germans also had one as well. I think it was made by Fokker. I'm not entirely sure. Could be very. No, it was an Albatross. Never mind. It was a D1 or D2 or something along the lines of that. So the Germans could get one as well, which works out perfectly down here. So you've got 4 different types of airplane. You've got a submarine, you've got a destroyer, and you've got a coastal airship, which perfectly balances out us getting a ton of new guns and specializations here. In the next DLC, what do we get? We get a whole different type and plethora of new vehicles and stuff like that to play around with and have a good go. And no doubt they'll put some other small landing craft in there and all that kind of stuff as well. So that was where my thought processes went. Those are all the things I'm going to throw out there really early on. We can look back at this in December and go, you were right, you were wrong, or you were completely wrong and you're a muppet and don't ever force your opinion on us ever again. But I just thought it was really, really interesting. This battle, or these battles I should say, focused around this time in a marine-based environment, looked to be really, really cool. So there we are, guys. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And I'll be really interested to see whether you think I'm talking absolute mush or I'm on point or whatever. But leave your opinions down below. Don't want this video to go on forever as always. And I'll catch up with you guys in another video tomorrow where we'll talk about something completely different. And thanks for all the subs, likes, shares. You guys are absolutely awesome. And I really, really appreciate it. And I'll catch all you guys in another video tomorrow. Until that time, ta-da.